I think that's a good leeway. Now, your 22 to 23 Rangers played their 96th season and 97th overall. During the offseason, the Rangers named Jacob Trouba the 28th captain in franchise history. Trouba became the first captain since Ryan McDonough and was traded during the 17 to 18 season and is also the 12th defenseman in franchise history to be named captain. He is the fourth consecutive U.S.-born player to be named captain after Chris Drury from 2008 to 2011, Ryan Callahan from 11-14, and McDonough from 14 to 18. Trouba served as an alternate captain in the previous 2 years while being lauded for his leadership abilities and by previous Rangers head coach David Quinn and his successor Gerard Gallant. On March 14th, 2023, the Rangers were featured in the first ever live animated NHL telecast called NHL Big City Greens Classic. ESPN, Disney, and the NHL teamed up to showcase ice hockey to a younger audience. They defeated the Washington Capitals in a game that featured characters from the award-winning cartoon playing for both teams. The Rangers clinched a playoff berth on March 27th after losses by the Buffalo Sabres and Florida Panthers in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Rangers, despite leading the series 2-0, were eliminated by the New Jersey Devils in 7 games. Head coach Gallant resigned from his duties after the Rangers' elimination from the playoffs. Now, they finished third in the Metro, fifth overall in the conference. They had a record of 47-22-13, home record of 23-13-5, road record of 24-9-8. Goals for was 277, goals against was 219. GM is Chris Drury. Coach was Gerard Gallant. Captain is Jacob Trouba. Alternates were Barclay Goudreau, Chris Kreider, Artemi Panarin, Panera Bread Man, Mika Zibanejad, and they play Zibanejad, and they play at Madison Square Garden. Team leaders, goals was Zibanejad with 39. None other than the bread maker had the most assists with 63 and the most points with 92. Penalty minutes was given to Trouba was 63. Plus minus was Ryan Lindgren plus 29. Goal wins goes to Igor Shesterkin. And the goals average as well with 37 wins and 2.48 on the goals against average. Overall, basically a middle-of-the-line average team here with the Rangers. 5-3-2 in October, 6-6-2 in November, 8-3-2 in December, 8-2-2 in January, 7-3-1 in February, 10-4-2 in March, and 3-1-2 in April. March being their best month, April being their worst. This team definitely, they have guys for sure, but to me, this team seems like it's almost in like rebuild mode, more or less. They're obviously still contending, finishing 5th last year in the conference, 3rd in the division. So they're definitely not necessarily in a bad place, but it seems like almost a constant small rebuild with the Rangers, in my opinion. Obviously, they have Panera Bread Man, as we like to call him over here. So I do hope that Panarin does have success in New York, but I don't think it's going to be, at best, it's going to be the same kind of year that it was last year. But at worst, I think there's going to be a drop-off.
So we'll see how they go on this. Well, it feels like not too long ago when there were ambitions of a Stanley Cup when they acquired not only Vladimir Tarasenko, but also Patrick Kane. But it feels like a recurring theme with the Rangers, having to rely on their superstar goaltender to carry the workload for them. Wasn't just with Igor Shesterkin. It was with Henrik Lundqvist in the past. And you can also argue Mike Richter before Lundqvist. Though that 1994 team did have some greats like Mark Messier, Sergei Zubov, Brian Leach, Adam Graves, Esa Tikkanen, those guys. But the key pieces are still there in Rangers Town. So including their star players like Artemi Panarin, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, who led the league in power play goals 2 years ago. Well, in 2022. So it's still there. Adam Fox being their number one defenseman and one of the two best defensemen in the league. He's up there with Kel McCarr at the top two. So there are a lot of question marks surrounding young talent because historically, the Rangers have not been the best team at developing young talent. And that trend has been continuing because Alexei Lafreniere and Capo Caco are nowhere near what they're supposed to be in their development trajectories, despite the formation of the kid line ahead of the 2022 playoffs, when the two of them were in a line with Philip Keedle. And they have a hole at the top line right wing, but they can't fill that out because of the lack of cap space. They're currently over the cap, so they cannot sign Patrick Kane anymore. Vladimir Tarasenko, he's in Ottawa now, so he's out of the equation. And that's despite signing Blake Wheeler to a one-year deal at $800,000 after he got bought out by the Winnipeg Jets. And even though Wheeler, he's not what he was, he can still get offensive contributions to a team, though he's more of an offensive guy than he is a defensive guy. But the tight salary cap is not helping them, even though they gave new contracts to Lafreniere and rising young defenseman Keandre Miller, who is finding his home next to Jacob Trouba on the second defensive pairing. So this is a win now team, and that was emphasized by them adding Eric Gustafsson, who can play in sheltered minutes on a third pairing, and he's going to get exactly that with Braden Schneider as his defensive partner. Schneider was another first-round pick, and he knows his role as a shutdown defenseman on the third pairing. Though it's also fair to wonder how much longer that the Rangers have it in them to continue competing at the rate that they were. Another deep run or two like they did in 2022 should get them to satisfy this current core, but it feels like time is running out quickly for the Rangers. And I mean quickly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm worried about. Is there's going to be a time, and I'm afraid it's going to be really soon, where we see New York have a fall off, and I worry. I don't want the Rangers to go through what we've been going through 23 years, because we're almost constantly in a rebuild. I think the organization and the people that head the organization are better than that. So I'm not fully worried about that, but I am worried to see how bad of a drop off the Rangers will have. I think, what's with both New York teams headed for a drop off, what's Blood Week going to look like from now on?
I don't feel that New York wants to know.
I don't think either fans of either organization want to know.